Michael Johnson discovered his calling very early in life. It began with athletic tape, stretching, and ice packs, and it later transformed into teaching, administration, coaching, and spiritual guidance. Michael and his siblings, David, Terrence, and Dennis, all graduated from Monsignor Bonner. They grew up in Lansdowne and attended St. Philomena's grade school. They were raised by their parents, Anna and Russell. From St. Phil's, it was off to Bonner, where he graduated in 1959. Michael accepted an athletic training scholarship to St. Joe's University. While still a student at St. Joseph's, he served as an athletic trainer for all the sports teams. That included the basketball team, coached by future Hall of Famer Jack Ramsey. During Michael's time, the Hawks Hoops team reached the Final Four and Elite Eight. He was able to travel with the team on a 35-day journey to South America, which was sponsored by the U.S. State Department and was honored by the U.S. Ambassador to Chile. He earned 3 athletic letters in college for his efforts with the Hawks. During his time on Hawk Hill, he was also a trainer for the Bonner football team that won the city championship in 1961. Following graduation from St. Joe's, Mike began a long, illustrious career in higher education. He stayed put on City Ave as the Director of Student Affairs and Accounting Instructor at St. Joseph's Evening College. Next, he was named Assistant Dean at Penn State University, as well as Director of Career Planning and Business Instructor at Community College of Philadelphia. At Delaware County Community College, he was a professor of business before being elevated to chairman of the business department. He even taught English abroad in Slovakia. He was the first business faculty member to receive the Gould Award for teaching excellence and was honored as Professor Emeritus. Michael and his wife, Mary Teresa, a 1962 Prendy graduate, have been married for 58 years. They are the proud parents of Mary Teresa, Michael, and Chris. Michael continued to give back in many ways. He coached basketball at Highland Park and St. Francis of Assisi. He also served as a Eucharistic minister at St. Francis. For 17 years, he was the chairman of the Springfield Zoning Board, where he was honored by the township for his dedication. He was placed on the Springfield Township Memorial Wall for exemplary service to the community. Just to illustrate how Michael and Mary Teresa give back, the couple won a $20,000 prize at a Friar Fest. Instead of keeping the money, they started a scholarship fund for juniors at Bonner Prendy in honor of Reverend Paul Morrissey. Michael also assists with the Bonner Prendy Board of Education, where he helps in developing a dual credit program with Delaware County Community College for students to earn college credits. How about we give back to you tonight, Michael? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Michael Johnson to the 2025 Monsignor Bonner Hall of Fame.
Good evening, everyone. It's a great honor to be here. What I think is ironic is that when I tell people I'm going into the Hall of Fame, their first question to me often is, what sport did you play at Bonner? And since I didn't play a sport at Bonner, I'm not a jock, I just went on and did whatever I could. Now, I want to mention, you mentioned my mother and father earlier, their education was up to 5th grade, their formal education. And so they were elated when I got into Bonner and for excellent education. Now, while I was at Bonner, my father became sick, and my family had to go on welfare. Okay. And since I was the oldest of 4 boys, I had to go out and work and help out. So my activities at Bonner were very limited. So if you're ever on welfare, it's not a great experience. Then my father died, and we were able to go on Social Security. And we felt like we were really millionaires now with that, right? And I continued to work. When I graduated from Bonner, I decided I was going to go into the Marines. Well, Father John Melton, who was guidance instructor at Bonner, and Father Joseph McCluskey, my history professor at Bonner, heard about this and told me to come up to Bonner and see them. So I went up and I said, I was going to go to the Marines. They said, no, you're going to go to college. Come back in 2 weeks. So I came back in 2 weeks, and they said, okay, this is it. We got you a full tuition, room and board scholarship to St. Joe's to be an athletic trainer. What you have to do in the next 6 months is study under Tommy McCoy, who is the head trainer for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I did my 6 months, and I moved on and went up to St. Joe's, where I guess basically everything is history from that point on. So I wanted to give you a little bit of my background. Now, I would also like to talk about my wife, Mary, who has been my rock, my advocate, best person I ever met, okay? And we've been married for 58 years, as we indicated earlier. And someone said to me, what is the clue to this? And I said, well, you got to marry a Catholic girl that was raised in a row house in Upper Darby. That's the clue, okay? And now I would also like to mention, again, or, you know, we mentioned my children and my grandchildren and so forth. And my wife always likes to say, with grandchildren, they're the reason why we didn't kill our kids. So I just want to be clear about that. Okay? Now, I would like to thank Jim and his crew for putting together this wonderful event. Okay? They worked very hard on it. Okay? I would like to thank the folks that put my nomination up. A large number of them who are currently also in the Hall of Fame. And they worked very hard to work on this for me. Now, I often talk to my students, and they would say, well, how should we make this speech? What are the clues to making this speech? And I said, the clues are, be prepared, be brief, be seated. Thank you.